cash for kids, now we like that scam ablaze. Traitors in the shadows, lost in their twisted maze. Snatch the gavel back, justice in the people's gaze. Breaking chains with syllables, watch the system rephrase. Leave the kids alone, no pawns in your schemes. We the watchdogs, waking up your daydreams. Cleaning out swamps, revolution streams. Truth prevails, echo shatters corrupt regimes. Battle cry loud, iron fist hit the drums. Villains meet their end, chaos comes from crumbs. The Constitution roars, amplifies our tongues. Flood the dungeons with light, purge the system scum. Bam! No deals under the table, transparency our grind. Greedy claws cracked, vultures out of time. We armor injustice, front line redefine. Dirty waters purified, the movement intertwined. Leave the kids alone, no pawns in your schemes. We the watchdogs, waking up your daydreams. Cleaning out swamps, revolution streams. Truth prevails, echo shatters corrupt regimes. No deals under the table, transparency our grind. Greedy claws cracked, vultures out of time. We armor injustice, front line redefine. Dirty waters purify, the movement intertwines. Cap. Leave the kids alone, no pawns in your schemes. We the watchdogs, waking up your daydreams. Cleaning out swamps, revolution streams. Truth prevails, echo shatters corrupt regimes.
Good evening. Tonight we have a special edition, and your host this evening is your old buddy Gunner and our old buddy Obsidian over here. Matter of fact, we had a good time last night, and we're hoping that Darren's going to be able to take and join us on the show here shortly. But we decided we'd do a little special edition for you guys. Um, So there's a lot going on. You guys want some updates as far as what's going on with Vin? There are some federal filings that have been done. His 1983s. I just got word of that that's coming in. So those are confirmed that those have been filed. So they're there as well as several other things. So I know you guys were interested in that. Exposing corruption has got a like I said, it's putting a lot of things on the line. I mean, you're putting yourself out there when you start calling this stuff out, and if you don't have any kind of protection or anything like that to where you're supposed to have from your duly elected sheriff from this shit, but you don't. Matter of fact, they're in league with the state. And that's well known. I mean, the state has come in and told police departments and sheriff's departments in all 50 states in this country when it comes to CPS to get out of the way. The only one that has changed that recently would be the state of Texas because of all the errors and problems it was having and finding. I mean, that's an interesting thing, don't you think, Obsidian? The way to cover it up is to.
Did you know that you can force the United States Marshals to investigate a violation of federal criminal law or civil? And if they don't listen to you, you can force them. Interesting.
You can compel those things, but once again, due to the fact that our public education system that was receiving all that federal money, which is why he cut it off, they weren't teaching us that, let alone how many children today can't read the original documents in the original manuscript of cursive and or calligraphy when it's done personalized. It's called calligraphy. You don't get to see the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, let alone the letters and stuff like that.
The beauty there in its true form,
all of that. Yeah, you can't read it and understand it because if you don't, and they say, well, what is it? And we have this argument all the time, and it's this thing of what the Constitution mean or what was the point of it. And then you go to somebody and go, well, did you not read the Federalist Papers? And they're like, what's that? And I'm like,
they don't even know what it is.
No, they're clueless.
They don't know that this is a republic and democracies are treason.
Oh yeah, it's complete treason. And the whole
Article 4, Section 4.
Even within the structures now, there was. Let me try this other one. Let me find this here because I wrote it down, and you're gonna love.
And I do got a bit of information for everybody who's dealing with CPS tonight. So,
well, here's one thing that really, really bothers me. And I think this is a good subject to bring up since this is constitutional and how it deals with CPS and the courts. The issue I have is that with the Constitution, I mean, if you're going to go through it, let's talk about Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2. Okay? Yep. Where it explicitly grants the Supreme Court the original jurisdiction in cases in which the state shall be a party. Now, when you've all gone, some of you guys have gone to court or this or that and stuff with CPS, what's it say on your court paperwork? It says the state of versus.
That's color of state law right there, too. That's proof of color of state law. All you got to do is prove they deprived you of one right under the guise of that, and then you've got a federal lawsuit as well.
Yep. There you go, Chris.
And I can prove deprivation of rights under color of state law for CPS in only 4 moves.
Awesome. Yep. Well, I mean, why is this with this going on, we've talked about, and I think you and I, it was great because we've been meaning to get together, I guess, for this because just some of the topics we cover, a lot of people just don't know about. Where this went back. I mean, why our history is written the way it is and why they were tearing down statues and what they're covering up. Because if you start eliminating history, the first question I ask is, what are you trying to cover up? What am I not supposed to know about this person? You know what I'm saying? I mean, wait,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
was down or this was done. What are you trying to hide? What are we
yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
know?
I put it this way. That's that incentive. It's the
Yeah.
incentive payments to states. That's what they're hiding. Yep.
Hmm.
They get paid. Yep.
Yeah. And it's this whole shadow. Hey, there's Tiff.
I also got the attorney general by law accepting a bribe. Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Wow.
but here's how you do it. Here's how you do it. You simply go 42 United States Code 1983 civil action for deprivation of rights under color of state law. That's one. The second part is the rights that you're going to enumerate. Those are Troxel versus Granville and all the Supreme Court cases that established the parental rights doctrine under the 14th Amendment, the First Amendment, and the Fifth Amendment. And then you're going to go ahead and in order to do CPS, child support, or adoption, or foster care, there has to be a state plan. That's proof of color of state law. That has to be public information. You can FOIA request that public information. Boom. Now you've got deprivation of rights under color of state law. And that leads you back to 42 USC 1983.
Well,
you win.
Well,
they lose.
Let's go back also to the part that says that all codes, statutes, and I'm trying to think of the other one off the top of my head. Was it any codes, rules, regulations, and statutes are for government only and not for the people, because it violates due process and is unconstitutional. Now, these states that are bringing this stuff against you are some of the
thing about that is
it's code.
The only codes, statutes, rules, regulations that are valid are the ones supporting your constitutional rights. That's it.
The federal ones. Yep.
That's it.
All these other things,
the state legislatures, they're only mentioned in the Constitution like once or twice.
Yeah. And here's the thing. All your states' constitutions acknowledge and even have a certain section, because I've looked at all of them, to the superiority of the Constitution of the United States, saying that that is the law of the land and that's it. And there's even things saying you can't take and pass laws contradictory to the Constitution. So there's a lot of stuff that's out there that you're getting and then you've had a lot of people have these arguments of the right to travel. Those
I can easily establish that. Yeah.
And once again, you go back to the structure. The structure was this. The federal government was to make sure that there was fair trade and everything else going on, but it left it to the states to regulate the trade within their states. In other words, they only had power over the businesses and corporations that were within their state lines. And the money that the revenues they were supposed to get off of that was to support the state government to where there was no cost from the people. But now we're paying for this, we're paying for this, we're paying for. Why is the corporate? And that's where everybody's having a damn fit of just saying, we're going to make the tariffs on all the imports and stuff pay for our government to where it shouldn't be a burden on the people. It should be on the businesses and how we do business. You know what I'm saying? Either the imports or putting a tax on some of the stuff that's here to do some of our infrastructure. Who has the biggest?
Here's a little something. Donald Trump's trying to put the External Revenue Service is what you're talking about.
Many different of these. It's multifaceted. It's not just
no. He wants to replace the IRS with the External Revenue Service and tax other countries to pay for our government. Yeah,
exactly. Well, and that's the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to make enough to be self-sufficient. We are not supposed to be paying another country. We're
not supposed to be shipping our jobs overseas.
Yes. You wonder why there's a deficit? Because we're in debt. And
Michigan's auto industry went overseas. That's why. And people don't know what debt and credit is.
So here's the other thing. What are roads for? Who do they benefit the most? They benefit businesses,
That's got to be the people, right?
Travelers,
people in businesses.
Transportation. Yeah. And automobile industries especially. Those are the people that are supposed to be paying for those things, which gets us back and forth to work. You act like it's a special thing that you've given us these things. No, part of that should be the infrastructure. That the automobile industry should be taking care of our roads. 100%.
Here's the thing about this. The federal government left driver's licenses up to the state. The state cannot convert a secured liberty, such as the liberty and freedom of movement or the right to travel, into a privilege such as driving, and license it for a fee. That's Murdoch versus Pennsylvania. And if they do that, you can engage in the right with no impunity, which means every traffic ticket is void.
Well, you could go even beyond that. You can move from what you have your license to as what you have.
But unless you're operating in commerce, if you're operating a business vehicle,
exactly, yeah. But for the private person, you can actually go get an international driver's license with a passport.
That's
you
correct.
Don't need any of those other IDs, and that international license,
that license is bigger than your driver's license. Yeah,
that's federal. That's federal.
Yep.
And saying I can drive and other things. So the way to outsmart the system is get rid of that. And the other part most people don't know, the U.S. Department of Transportation will give you a plate for free.
And technically, the states are not supposed to be the one licensing.
They're not supposed to be issuing private citizens. Not
States cannot license things for a fee, but federal can.
Yes.
Which is how they do the gun laws, which is why they have gun licenses, because it's federal.
Yeah.
That's how they get around that.
Well, you go the next step up. It's just like this. I'm playing in the lower courts. Why fuck around with the lower courts when I go right to the high one? See, that's the other thing.
And that's funny. That's funny. You mentioned Vinny. I've these situations where you get stuck in these state courts. I've had people show me some of their documents. They never use Supreme Court cases, bro.
No. But Vinny, the one thing I do know about Vinny's case, and the problem that they're really going to have to get past, is the whole thing that started all this thing, and then on top of it to frame him and literally frame him. I've seen a lot of the evidence and everything else. Even the stuff they arrested him on, they had an independent investigator do a independent investigation because it had been over so many days. So they asked for it. And it came back of the actual accusations of what they based it on, which was some, I guess, Facebook messages or something, came back completely
I can't speak as to the particulars of his case as it is ongoing. Right. I'm not a lawyer. I don't represent him. But yeah.
Well, the other big thing
agree.
Here is though, is I asked him very specifically, and this is the problem. And guys, I want you to pay attention. I says, when this all started, how did it start? He said it was a caseworker, and then they came in. I said, did they have a warrant, court order, or in emergency, imminent danger? He goes, no. I said, you realize your whole thing started, that's a Fourth Amendment violation, and everything after it is fruit from a poisonous tree.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this for Maine. Maine, you better take and figure out what you've done, because Vinny knows this. And as well as
Maine better get its shit together real quick.
Fast.
It's not gotta. Is Maine not going to comply?
Well, I guess they're going to have to figure some things out, because from my understanding, they're still not complying because he wants to.
From my understanding, they're still allowing women to play in men play in women's sport.
Yeah.
To my understanding, they're not going to comply with us either. That's also going to be a problem.
Well, there's, like I said, there's a lot of things in the works, and there's a
people
lot
don't
of
realize we the people have more power than the president.
Yes. Yeah. That you got to understand that. I think most people don't get that, is that the Constitution places the power amongst the people to regulate itself.
Safety and numbers.
Yeah. And the concept is that's why the Second Amendment was there. You didn't need police to come. You didn't need that to come. You were your own first responder.
Yeah.
But people were taught to respect it a whole lot more. They were trained as children.
And we didn't have all these.
It used to be in public schools.
We didn't have that many people on the earth at that time.
Well, now I'm going to say it's not just population. and then I'm going to say this because it's been justified recently. I've been talking about it for years.
Oh yeah, there's always more to it.
Is the poison in the food and the hormones and all the other chemicals and stuff in there that mess with your brain chemistry. So you're
Look,
wondering
they got stuff in our water right now that kills my house plants if I use it.
Fluorine.
Yeah,
fluoride.
I don't drink the shit.
That's poison. Look up what fluoride is.
Yeah, I know.
And then that's the stuff that's in there. It's like, man,
It started in Grand Rapids,
Michigan.
Michigan. Yeah, I know all about fluoride, man.
I mean, you've got some crazy stuff, man. I mean, you look at that, let alone the plastics and everything else in the food, and then to come to find out we're the only nation in all of the world to put stuff in our food without testing it. And the theory is we'll consider it bad when it hurts somebody. What the hell?
Codex Alimentarius.
I mean, what the hell? I mean, who's the
Agenda 21?
Where is, you know what I'm saying? Where is that whole common sense? You know what I'm saying?
Well, luckily, Robert Kennedy's trying to address that situation right now.
Right. Oh,
I think that if we get that information about what his subordinates are doing, he would correct it. But he's busy trying to get everybody healthy because we have a bad problem with our food supply, like you said.
Yeah.
So he's focused on that. But I'm sure if we, you know, but then again, you know,
it's multi-leveled, man. I mean, with the stuff that we have going on, I mean, the curtain's coming back. We're realizing everything was coming, even to the point that our own vice president and CIA turned on this country to kill a president. I mean, for what? For what we're hearing and seeing now.
CIA experimented on Canadians.
Oh, yeah.
Bunch of shit, man.
Oh, you want to talk about the other thing, Hollywood Hills?
I love the CIA.
Talk about those tunnels. You know those tunnels. Here's the funny story about that area, is that's where MK Ultra was done, and there used to be an Air Force base. So those tunnels are the old abandoned airport tunnels that some of them they collapsed with dynamite, but those areas still exist. You know what I'm saying? So these houses do connect, and there's this whole railway and all this other stuff. And
you've been on my playlist on my channel, haven't you?
Right.
I got videos on all of that. Oh yeah.
So
love it.
Well, Darren tried to call. I tried to call on the other side over here, and I don't know what happened to him. I tried to let him know that we were in. Maybe he's on his way. Maybe that's a good thing. But let me see if I can't get him here. What's going on here?
I hope he's all right.
No, he must be fine. I mean, he just, you know, sometimes things happen and get caught up, and you know, it is what it is. Let's try this here this way. Nope, that's somebody else.
We're like a big family. Just keep each other going, you know.
We try. We just get all so damn busy. I mean, you know, where you're working on this, you're working on this, you're trying to help out families, you're trying to help out, you know, this one. And
I can tell you, they made a mistake with them. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna bite them right in the behind.
Oh, especially with everything else. The biggest funny thing is like I said, is they kept pushing things off. But like you know, I've had that conversation several times with several people to understand. Guys, understand CPS. It's psychological warfare. They will push your buttons for a reason. There were many things that happened.
It's all that state plan
through that. And he took a turn, and like I said, they pulled a bunch of tricks in the book. I tried the best. A lot of us did, you know, like I said, but understand it's a natural reaction when certain things happen that they're trying to trigger a response. And if you
when they trigger that response, it's against you.
Boom. Because I mean, and it's hard unless somebody, you know, not everybody's aware of that stuff. To put up their defenses, like, I saw that coming there. Yeah, you didn't catch me that time, but yeah, go ahead and play on this and that. And they want you hyper. They want you on the edge, because what this does is this is the same thing that proves to the magistrate or the judge or anything, look, this is an unfit parent. You know what I'm saying? Look, we had to call the cops on them. We had that. Look, they're violent. They're this, they're that. And they're trying to come up with all these things of, now look at them, you know, they're posting on this, they're doing this, you're doing that. And I'm over here, I'm like, how the hell are you going to get somebody on freedom of speech? Not talking about this. I mean, when you're dealing with it, you're just calling things out as you see it or your opinion. You know, the freedom of your voice is the ability to communicate. And it's like, why do you want it hushed? Because you don't want people to go to the open
it's
courtroom?
like what they did to Vinny. They issued an unconstitutional gag order.
Yeah. 100%.
On top of violating his right to make an honest living, acquire an honest living, and get the tools to create an honest living under his right to work. And that's
put you into poverty, everything else. Oh, this is this, that. Why? Because you're guilty until proven innocent. Where was, once again, you know, looking at the hard evidence and then not getting to the point because you jump ahead of things. You know what I'm saying? And saying we haven't solidified this evidence. They rush to it so fast. Oh, well, we've got it. We've got it. We've got it. Are you sure you've got it? Because a lot of it,
they like to dismiss claims as frivolous. But the thing about that is that you can't dismiss a claim as frivolous if the claim is sufficiently pled.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
And there's a lot of this, you know, we hear things, we do this, we do that. And there's a lot of people that manipulate this. I mean, you hear all the time, hey man, you know, we were getting divorced. My wife didn't like it. She found a boyfriend. So she said that I abused her and the kids, and the new boyfriend moved in and took the place. And now I'm stuck and homeless and this and that and bent over a rug. And well, there we go. You know what I'm saying? What do you do? And then they're wondering why nobody's getting married. Well, look at the horror stories of marriage that's going on.
Right.
Why? Because it's about a piece of paper. Because we made a license for it. That's not what it's supposed to be meant as. That's not legal for. You don't even have to have that. You have to. I mean, you have to do it according to your religious beliefs of what you have. What is that? Well,
here's another thing that people don't realize is 1983. So the state cannot convert your right to bear children, okay, into a privilege such as parenting, your right to raise children into a privilege such as parenting, and license it. And according to the United States Code, a certificate such as the birth certificate is included in the definition of a license, and issue it for a fee. That's unconstitutional. So every one of these orders that's based off of these children's birth certificate are void.
Well, and here's the other thing. That's why people don't understand. And I've had that conversation too over the birth certificate. That's
certificate of live birth is better.
Yeah, certificate of live birth. That's just saying we certify you've been born and it was alive. Therefore, you ever hear those arguments of I am the living man? That's what that means.
That's where that comes from. Yeah.
Exactly. All you have to do is produce your birth certificate. I am proof of a living man. I am not the dead person. You do not have me in your system. Now, will those lower court judges respect that? Absolutely not. You're going to take and have to go through whatever, and then you're going to have to go to the federal Supreme Court and file a motion and everything that you know they violated your rights and everything else. He considered you.
Yeah, serve them with a summons or a complaint.
Yep. And then notify them and saying, hey, I'm suing all of you. This court does not have authority over me. See, there's the beauty of the living man. That goes back to that same concept of separating. The state doesn't have control over you. When they licensed it, they did.
Now they have control over that.
Exactly. That's why Rooker versus Feldman takes and it sticks where it is. It's a state matter. I don't belong to the state. Is the point, is the argument you've got to have. But once they say nope, and then literally it's gotten that high in a couple of federal court cases. If you do your research,
Rooker Feldman only applies to an appeal. If you're suing, that's not an appeal.
Right. So, well, I'm saying they've used that so broadly.
Yeah.
As it's saying, as these are, the federal government can't interfere with the actions delegated to the states or under state sovereignty is what it
Of
comes down
course.
to. But once again, if you don't want to be part of their system, that's why they're saying, oh, well, what was the other ones like state nationals, and what was the other? There was a couple other names that were out there.
Non-citizen
No.
national,
Yeah,
state
non-citizen,
citizen.
national, state citizen, yeah. And the point is no, I am a federal citizen.
See,
I
people
reside
want to
this
sit there and
state.
say that the state citizen gets more rights, but the only rights that
No,
a state citizen really has is to
no.
vote or have property in that state. The federal rights of the federal citizen are much more protected, but what they're acting on is actually a social security number.
Not on everything. Once again, there's ways around some of that stuff because
Yeah.
you don't need a certificate of live birth, and or you can still apply without a social security number, that certificate of live birth, and or a trust or something like that, to apply for EIN numbers or FEIN numbers.
Yep.
And you're allowed to have so many, and then you operate when they say, well, I need a social security number. No, you don't. It's a company, it's an LLC, or it's an incorporated business, or this represents the trust. There is a whole structure behind that will protect you and protect your kids. Ever see them CPS go after the rich people? No. You know why?
Nope.
All of those kids are in trust.
It's all in a trust. They're all trust fund kids.
They don't even have a social security number, most of them, because they're not required to. It's not
you are not required to.
Social security. No,
the
Amish,
the U.S. citizen. The U.S. citizen checkbox on the SS5 form is what violates your rights. You're not a U.S. citizen, but you are a citizen of the United States of America Republic.
And that is also, here's the other thing that a lot of people don't know. That is also recognized on your U.S. passport.
Yep.
That's right. There is a spot
U.S. in capitals is a corporation.
Yep. And when you know how to get through all that stuff, that doesn't. Yeah, it does. But you know what it says? I get to live free. I don't want your public this. I don't want this. I don't want that. I want to.
You can't force me to take that.
No.
It's the same thing. It'd be the same thing of going to Walmart and them forcing you to buy their product.
Yeah.
You ain't got to buy what they're selling, man.
And you don't have to. And listen, even to be a basic person, you don't have to have that. Get rid of your social, and you can use an FEIN number. And then what do you get at the end of the year? $99. Then you operate like a business or a subcontractor. We were not designed to be workers. We were designed to be free people to own family businesses.
I got the PDF on how to rescind the social security number. Yeah.
I mean,
did you know you can rescind one? Yeah, you can get rid of it.
Yep. You can go into being something you don't need. All you need is a passport. And it's recognized.
All you need is your own sustenance.
By every country in the country. Yep.
Some of us can't, though. That's what sucks.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's a lot of things that come off, and there's a lot of ways that, like I said, the states are doing that. But even a lot of those other cases, hey, it's me versus the state.
And all of what we've been talking about, the FBI labels people sovereign citizen for it. Can you believe it?
Yeah. Well,
we're trying to learn and understand the law. I'm like, okay, but the president said we the people are sovereign, the sovereign citizens of this nation. If you're going to call me a sovereign, that means I'm a king. If you're going to call me a citizen, that means that means I'm a subject. That's an oxymoron. Yeah. But also,
which one is
I'm a free member of a jural society, and my rights are. That's how you deal with that problem. And there's going to be a lot of hecklers on the internet too. You're one of them straw man people.
One of the things is, and a lot of people don't understand, is you can say one thing. The question is do you have the paperwork to back it up in a court of law? There's the difference between I am versus I have filed and unfiled, or this and that, to get out of that. So, and that has a lot to do with it. Is a lot of people, you weren't taught this. You were brought into, believe it or not, inner city life, and that was the biggest way it was sold. Was the bigger cities and working and taxes and all the other things. And now everybody's going, wait a minute, it was optional. We've been giving optional.
Title
when you
26 was
file,
never signed into positive law. The executive branch
it
cannot
was never
exercise
ratified.
a
Yeah.
Congress branch function, a legislative branch function, such as the power to levy taxes under the 16th Amendment. And the Congress does not have the authority to delegate that to the executive branch, because even if the IRS enforced it, it would be a violation of the separation of powers doctrine.
Yeah.
There's
So,
no law obligating you to pay taxes.
No. And that's the whole thing is we were designed to run as a country off of what we did for businesses. And that makes the most sense, because if you all own family businesses, you're going to naturally, you see how that transition, well, you're naturally going to pay taxes. And even the business owner, the small business owner, well, I got to pay taxes. I got to pay just like the big boys. Well, yeah. But at the same time, you got suckered in, because once you're on the other side, you're not supposed to. I mean,
It's all by consent. It's because you go work for one of them corporations instead of yourself.
How to contract. But what the big issue, how to repeal it too, is the fact that part of contract law is I have to be fully informed.
You're a 1099 worker, or if you're self-employed, don't ever back down to that shit.
Yeah. I mean, that gets onto that stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. It won't come back. I mean, that's the other thing, when you need some of the stuff, that those things come out, which is, here's the other thing. What's mandatory that comes out of that? Social Security. What CPS got their paws in? Social Security.
What's child support got their paws in? Social Security.
Yep. Social Security. All this stuff is in this Social Security program.
It's because it's all out of the Title IV of the Social Security Act. It's all the Title IV crime family that I've been fighting. Yep. All of us been fighting the same beast.
It's all interconnected. It's the inner beast. We weren't
supposed to have those custodial parents out there helping it. You're part of the problem.
Yeah.
You don't know it, but you're part of the problem. And you waived your rights.
You gave it up. How many people don't even know? Yeah, you don't even realize you waived your rights. I mean, people like, hey, well, we didn't get in the system. We didn't know about this or this. Even when you got married, you know how they look at you? You're now a business. They look at you just like a business.
You are
and
a
what
product.
Happens after that? A product. Now your kids are what? Assets.
Property.
Now they have control of them. Property.
Chattel.
Yep.
Because you consented. Because you went down there and you signed into this state plan with them. Okay, listen. Every state has a state plan for CPS, for adoption, and for child support. That's color of state law. If it deprives you of any of your parental rights or any of your constitutional rights, guess what? You got a claim for 42 USC 1983. And guess what? Under probably about 6 or 7 Supreme Court case law that states that the states cannot deny your 1983, they don't get 11th Amendment immunity. They're operating as a private person. If they're not operating as a private person, then they're in violation of their oath of office, and they could very well go to prison or be expelled from the government.
Well, now let's go into something a little bit deeper that we end up driving down that rabbit hole as we do. Is the thing came up is, these child support agencies, this and this and that, or even your state, local government, all these other things, and even the state itself. Do you realize they all have a Dun and Bradstreet number?
Yeah. They float. It's all bonds. They float a lot of bonds and securities, and it's all financial stuff on the back.
But it specifically says in U.S. code that no corporation can be involved in government. So
it also states that no public officer of the United States shall accept a bribe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're doing. They're accepting bribes.
Yep.
31 United States Code 3720C. The Attorney General has a debt collection improvement fund in which to go after obligors for their child support obligations, which is rendered void by Title 42 United States Code 1994.
It's an issue of separation of powers too.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah.
And here's the thing, they're using that money in those administrative fees, especially in most states. That goes towards those judges and those CPS judges. Wait a minute. So you now have incentive to remove my children? That's right, folks. Look it up.
Adoption centers, and foster cares are also done under a state plan. And when they deprive you of your parental rights, because your parental rights can't even be revoked, even if you give them away, because Santosky versus Kramer states that even in a contested court proceeding where an individual has had their parental rights terminated, they still retain constitutionally protected parental rights. And so, therefore, the state of is liable for deprivation of rights under color of state law. And under several Supreme Court case law, they can't block your 1983 unless you're past the statute of limitations, which is 3 years. But you can ask for equitable relief because of not knowing any of this, all sorts of reasons. Man.
Failure of the Department of put it on there. Failure of the Department of Education to take in the collected federal money.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Oh, baby, how you like that?
That was on fire, bro. That was on fire.
Hey, prove me wrong, because I can't read the Constitution.
The Department of Education failed to teach their students about the Constitution.
They failed to teach the Constitution. That is my excuse. Why? There you go, guys. That one will fly. Why? Because the president just shut it down and say, nope, especially some of you that came up under, and I'm going to say it, Commie Corps. You don't like it? Suck it.
Did you know that it's also a violation of father's religious liberty because the child is supposed to be brought up in the religion of the father?
Yep.
And their little foster care or adoption service may not be teaching your child exactly the religion you want your child to be taught. So,
oh, you mean the religions? You mean the 501c of organized religions that are taking the children and having them and educating them in this? So they're forcing their religion on you? Oh, wait, but that doesn't happen.
Oh, not at all.
Now listen, this is why, and here, let's go down this one then. Let's talk about that. Most people don't understand the ones that are above the Constitution, and the reason those things are passed about families and everything else is because of something that's called God's law or Creator's law. Another something that is natural.
The natural law is above all of man's law.
Yes. Yep. Which it says even in the Constitution or in the codes and through there. We can't make a law that we can't control of God's law. They understood that when they wrote the Constitution.
That's why we have the First Amendment.
Exactly. So you go under, wait a minute, freedom of religion under God's law or my belief.
In child support, 42 United States Code 666 is a violation of your religious liberty because they're subjecting you to the mark of the beast. And that's all done under the state plan. So that's deprivation of rights under color of state law.
Oh, there was one that
man, this is so easy.
Oh, I know, but there was one in this group here. One of the groups I follow on Facebook, and I'm chat on it kind of thing. It was one.
Not that they'll observe it, but
listen, my husband's a Wiccan, and I'm this particular thing of whatever you want to call it, and the whole thing was saying now this CPS that is run by this church organization feels that because of their religious beliefs, they're a harm to their child. And literally they put it on the fucking paper.
Oh, I'm man.
Like, what? I said, that's a First Amendment violation. He goes, yeah, but they won't do it because my whole town and everything, it's so, it's so religious that we're so out of the norm. I says, and they're trying to force me to comply or steal my children. And I'm like, what the hell? I said, I'd march right into the U.S. Attorney's office and say, and hand them the paper and go, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, and here's just the opposite.
That boggles the mind.
One of those, well, here's the thing. If one of the big churches or the bigger organization or nationally organized, such as Southern Baptist, Catholics, Northern Baptists, Lutherans, Presbyterian, the big ones, they all have major hubs and major offices and fancy all this other stuff that they even have people they lobby to do stuff and all this other stuff. I mean, it's crazy. But they're all involved in some sort of foster home or something within every major religion. And that's scary as fuck. Why? Because maybe you don't believe that way. That's forcing your religion and removing your culture and religion being it ripped from you. This is the same shit
Marbury
that happened
versus
during
Madison, unconstitutional law is void. Norton versus Shelby County,
the
void
void.
from the beginning, wholly, entirely, and completely.
And here's
Not
the
when
other
so
thing.
branded in an open court law. Sorry, I had to finish up.
Well, you go back to the other thing. What makes us all equal and stops this stuff? And we're going to talk about the Constitution now. I'm not promoting anything, but this is why the Second Amendment was put in there when tyrants did the shit
Right.
that they do. When you had it, fuck a judge and jury, we're going to take care of shit.
Yeah, I
And we're
never advocate
constitutionally
violence,
sound.
but I do advocate standing against tyranny.
Tyranny. There's 100%. And that's why it was there. It is there for that.
Yep.
Matter of fact,
Historically speaking, yes.
yeah, historically speaking, and go back into the Federalist Papers and everything else, it was so.
It's
government
because
never
we
could
have the
get so
Second Amendment
powerful.
because the British were doing what the basically what the CPS are doing to us now, taking over our homes, our children, our lives.
Absolutely.
It's an impingement.
I mean, half the stuff that was going on. I mean, come on, man. Let's get. I mean, you want to get real for a minute? Let's talk about other ways of controlling and this and that. Hey, you got they're breeding a bunch. We got a bunch more people. The baby boom. Okay, what happened before the baby boom? Well, a lot of these other things. We went to other countries. We had wars. We brought back stuff, or we even had stuff of peace pipe. This that. You had marijuana. Well, marijuana. It comes to hey, we need to make it illegal. You know why they made it illegal?
Because they were using it to experiment on people in Canada.
Oh, no, it goes even more than that. A senator, literally go look at the bill that turns around, and I'm going to put it out there. We can't have these, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
stealing our white girls, because we can't have them crossbreeding and turning around and making what they're doing. You don't believe me? Go look it up.
Yep.
It's literally in there.
Yep.
You talk about a racist ruling to
well, it's all CIA psyop too.
Yeah.
It's both.
Mean,
yeah.
It's just crazy. And you're going through this stuff and you're like, what the hell's the matter with you?
When you find out dollar bills aren't even money, they don't even have, that's not money. That's something totally different. You're exchanging debt. You're trading debt with somebody. So you're trading what somebody owes you for something from somebody so that they owe you. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it just, and let alone you tap into what you've been, the bonds that's been done and everything. It's like, what the hell? No, there's a lot out there, man. I mean, and that's the whole thing that most people don't understand. They don't get it. They're not educated.
The average people don't know this, man.
No, and it's not their fault. Why? Not. Because you've been entertained. You've got all your little luxuries and happiness and all this other stuff, but what do you count on?
Entertained, distracted, indoctrinated, controlled,
well,
manipulated.
You want that. You want that next. You want that next. That next big thing. Apple does it all the time. We have a new thing, and people go out and spend $1,000 on this crap. And it's like, what do you mean crap? I go, does it work? Why do you have to have the new? Are you in that tech? No. But look at.
Let me tell you something. If you drop an iPhone one time, it'll shatter. You drop an Android 15 times, the screen might be intact.
Hmm. Hey man, we
come out with a new one every year, man.
Yeah. Oh, all the time there's something new. I mean, and then it just gets chintzier and chintzier.
And the NSA had computer chips and all of that, watching what everybody was doing at all times, and they could pull it up on a computer.
Mm-hmm.
No warrant needed. Well, we put a stop to that. You notice how the NSA director was thrown out of office? There was a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
Sexually explicit text between office members and the NSA. They got fired, man.
Oh, it was on like Donkey Kong, like I said. And people's like, well, how come it hasn't got to this? Well, how come it's got, give it time. This is an onion. Peel it.
That tells me that the NSA has been watching all of you ladies, for all them ladies out there. The NSA has been watching you messing around in your undies and all that shit. You can guarantee it, bro.
Oh, they
Project Pegasus. Look that up. Yeah. Project Pegasus.
They used to be able to turn on your they still can, but they could turn on their camera without notifying you at all times.
Yeah, they got a chair in a theater. They could sit down and look at anybody's stuff at any time.
Why do they need to put a GPS tracker or anything else on you when you got one of these?
Yep, it's called a Clipper chip. The Clinton Foundation was involved in the Clipper chip technology, but it got outdated. But now what they do is it's called SIM card.
Yeah. Well, hey, I got a video for us. Let's see if let me spin this one up. You'll get a kick out of this, and this goes about our Second Amendment. And let's see here. Nope, not that one.
Yeah, you got the right to life, liberty, and securing and defending your property and person and family.
There you go, guys. One of our favorite. You'll recognize the voice, but a little blast from the past, but it's still the same. The same as your Second Amendment has never changed.
Man must have unrestricted right to own and use personal weapons in the defense of his family, his home, and his own person against any kind of marauder, whether the marauder be a soldier of an invading army, an agent of an internal political conspiracy, or a common criminal. It is probably no exaggeration to say that an American citizenry, well armed with personal firearms and possessing the knowledge to use them effectively and properly, would provide more defense against invasion by a foreign enemy or against internal attempt to seize power than all of the national defense which President Johnson plans to buy with $51.2 billion tax dollars.
What'd I tell you?
What does that say about a political marauder in there? Did you catch that?
Yep.
Political marauder? That's CPS. Politics. Marauder to enter your
policies.
home. You are guaranteed your Second Amendment, what we were talking about earlier, you are guaranteed to protect yourself against no matter what it is. It's an unconstitutional entry, and you have every right to repel and protect your home. Y'all need to wake up, because I guarantee you they wouldn't be acting the way they would as soon as they got that, and all those cases started getting overturned and make them think twice and go, nope, can't do nothing about it. Why? No court order, no warrant, nothing was present, no emergency.
The ATF isn't seizing private firearms anymore. Donald Trump signed an executive order protecting the Second Amendment.
Mm-hmm. Funny how that goes.
Man, some of his executive orders are a doozy, like the bar one, the Bar Association, he clamped down on them. Governor Mills went after Governor Mills.
He is shaking the tree, and he's finding all these judges and everything else doing unconstitutional. And he goes, I've had enough, because he knows you're corporate judges. He knows who you're voting for and and wait a minute. Who was that other judge? Judge Davis, that JD fucking, oh my God, blew him out of the water. Caught him 2 weeks ago. They
went after ALJs. ALJs are administrative law judges. Yeah. That's who oversees CPS and child support.
Yep. That's your Article 1s. Hey, TikTok, Nick, TikTok, knock, knock. Time's up. Chevron's dead.
Chevron is definitely dead.
Chevron never should have been, and that shows you exactly why they killed Kennedy and why they got that damn thing passed. And that let them all off the hook, and them to enslave us, and the corporation tried, and that's why they hate Trump and the other things. It ain't got nothing to do with Republican. I don't give a crap. But let me tell you something. There's one side, I'm just going to say, that tends to lean a little bit more constitutional than the other one. The other one wants to argue and wants a democracy. Listen to their words. Our democracy is in jeopardy. You're right, it is. Because
you're right. You ain't supposed to be here.
Yeah, our constitutional republic's coming for it. and we're about to wipe it out, and all of you with it.
You are witnessing the death of the Democratic Party right now. In a sense,
Very
politically
much so.
speaking, the political death, not the real death. Sorry, I don't want to act like I'm making threats here, but
No, the party itself, the exposure, the evil, the undermining, the backtraining,
Obama's
the
birth
backdoor deals,
certificate.
all of it.
I got 9 oath of office violations on my YouTube channel on video.
Listen, the other thing I don't think people caught though is they didn't catch the 2 Constitution thing, and the second Constitution is now dead. We have returned to the original Constitution. The corporation does not have power, and it's dying, and it doesn't like it, and it's going to hold on.
Which I have a copy of. Which I have a copy of sitting on my table.
It does exist, and it goes all the way back to Ulysses S. Grant. And after the Civil War, they were broke. Everything was tore apart, and they needed money to rebuild. And that's what they needed, goods, because it was all gone. And so that's when you had all the powerhouses and the big businessmen from England and Scotland and those other places come here to incentivize, but then it all benefited them because that's where you get into the banking industry and you get into some of those other powers, and then you get into BlackRock and all that.
This is also why Donald Trump put the copy of the Declaration of Independence in the Oval Office hanging on the wall. Yeah. It's also why when the first day he took office this time, he declared that we will be returning to the Constitution. It's why the Department of Justice talked about returning to the Constitution. People don't realize that the Constitution has technically been suspended in the government's eyes for a minute now. But we're back. The Republic's back.
At the end of his last term, most people don't understand military ceremonies. And for the first time in history, President Trump stood on that stage and gave power over to the United States military because we were under attack and we had been overtaken. And that was what was signaled. When he did that, the power went to the military and a military investigation. And a lot of us didn't realize what was going on. They tried to make it normal. They were quietly doing stuff. They were setting this up. They were working on cases. They were returning back to it. There was full exposure of what was going on and evidence enough to come in and
not to mention I turned them all into Doge myself multiple times.
So there's a lot that whistleblowing that was going on. Things were coming on and finally realized we're not going this. Why? Because the first Constitution says very explicitly, anything that puts itself in the way of this Constitution is null and void. You can't, it doesn't matter if Congress does it or anything else, it is not valid if it puts anything above it, which is why he took us out of all those others, surrendering our power to the UN and everything else.
People like to think that doesn't apply to private citizens. It does too.
Yeah. Here's the other thing people don't get that just blew my mind. I'm like, let's see how many people take it and put this one together. You realize he renegotiated every single contract, canceled every contract we had with tariffs, and said, we're going to renegotiate all of them. Why? You couldn't do that if you were under that particular thing because you were still under contract. He nullified all of them and brought it back and says, nope, we're no longer that. We're back to the Republic. And we're going to renegotiate this. And the design is you're supposed to hold us up. We're not supposed to be a burden upon the people. That's the way we were structured. So we're going to make money off the businesses on imports.
You're public servants, not public masters.
Exactly. But now people are like, wait, that ain't right. And you're still going to have some going.
It's because it's been that way for so long, they don't know any different.
Wait till the nail comes in the coffin, Obsidian. And like I said, I don't say much, but guys, the other thing is I have my own show on. I know Obsidian's got his show tomorrow. What time's it on? Eastern Standard?
That'd be 7 to 9 Eastern Standard Time.
7 to 9 Eastern Standard Time. You can catch it.
I don't know who's gonna throw me a link because Vinny usually does.
We're working on, I think, some of that stuff too. So if you need something, holler at me. I can try and get you just set up, even if it's in the background, and get you going. Um, but
Sounds
there's a
good.
lot
I'll
of
have
stuff.
some interesting stuff tomorrow.
Cool. Um, the other thing is too, guys, I want you to check out Gunning for Justice right after Obsidians. Our week is going to be on. Matter of fact, if you want to join us after that show, we're going to kind of deal with case law and kind of do the same thing that we do here a little bit more. Maybe just go down a certain real rabbit hole and just keep running with it. But guys, just so you know, and a lot of other people know, after that show, I don't know what's going to be happening. I may be taking a break. It's nothing bad or anything like that. There's something that um, we have to deal with very soon, and some meetings and other things that we have to go to. Is all I can say. We will be back. Darren will be kept in the loop. When you know more, I will pass it down the chain, and we're looking for things to pop large. And when they do, we're going to try and make sure that Darren or somebody is there. And that's why I said, you guys that are not followers of the shows here, hit the like, follow, and shares, especially on YouTube, so you'll get the notifications for this show as well as the other two shows here. And it will let you know when we go live. So if you happen to get something in the middle of the day or some other time that you notice that Gunning for CPS automatically goes live at a weird time, because you guys know we're only on at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, 9:30 p.m. every Sunday. But like I said, we're going to take a little bit, and there's a reason for it. We can't talk about it. Um, is all I can say. And the only words I'm going to tell you is I can't comment anymore on an ongoing federal investigation, is all I'm going to say.
You got that
Change
right,
is
brother.
coming. Change is coming. Things are getting ready to happen. There's a lot of things going on. You guys have been on the inside track with us. You've been great supporters. Um, with our shows and everything else out there, guys, we love you guys. Spread the word of what's going on. You don't want to take and miss it. And like I said, once that ball gets rolling, we're growing. We're picking up another channel. We're actually going, I believe he said we're going on Roku. We're going to be on a Roku channel. So we're going to have some of those things that are growing. This network is growing. Listen, they're coming after people that are spreading the truth and everything else, and they're going to jack you up to shut you up. Like I said, there's even some people that are even on the run for a lot of things because of what they've exposed. But there's a lot going on. Bane, last I heard, he's healing up. As far as we know, he keeps kind of low ground. We've respected his privacy. When people need space, man, that's the other thing. It's called boundaries. If you don't know boundaries, man, you need to figure some out. You need to figure out where your circle's on. We did actually show that my wife and I did, because we do every other week. We do one on psychology or mental health, and we address that. And I think we're going to address that a little bit more. But right now, we've got a couple other bigger things that are going on. Guys, listen, the one thing you guys can do too, you guys realize all the channels and everything else you're on that has lives, that you can get with, watching this show and rebroadcast, say, this show or any show on your channels, and then go down the line for all your other channels. So if you guys have got your own YouTube channels, Facebook Live channels, all this other stuff, Rumbles, this and that, you can take and rebroadcast those things as showing on your channel and showing this actually live. And it drives a lot of our numbers up. It creates a lot of awareness. We're going to tell you guys also to be very careful of a lot of advocates and other things. Be careful who you choose. Do your own research, this and that. Be careful. Ask around.
Always do your own research.
Of scam artists. Yes, there's a lot of scam artists. There's a lot of scam attorneys out there taking advantage of families and even filing things for them federally that are a damn mess. And then you can never go back. They screw them permanently on a lot of those things. So you have to watch who you're dealing with and who you're betting with. Don't get excited. Listen, nobody's figured it all out yet. And I know there's a lot of spin. If we just this, we just that. Great. Pursue that. I think there's some other avenues that need to be explored. And I think, nobody's got the magic case yet to break this wide open. I say yet because I know it's coming. So, people are working on this hard to figure out a way. I mean, we're all fighting. We're all trying to figure out a way to get through this. Any cases that halfway went through, they've had a non-disclosure agreement signed, and they settled out of court because they wanted to keep it quiet. But once this is too far, too gone, I mean, I think you'd agree with me, Obsidian. It's one of those things that there's no going back now. We've got their attention, and we're not going away.
The government does not get to violate constitutional rights, thus saith the rule of law. Well,
I think a reckoning is coming. I think, and a lot of people say, well, this is happening. I go, it really doesn't fit. I says it's more historically accurate to call a reckoning. In other words, we are correcting what was bad and putting it back on the right track. And we're holding those accountable. The reckoning isn't about justice. It's not about revenge. It's not anything else. It's about putting things right and holding those accountable that are not doing right is what it comes down to. And I think we're overdue for a reckoning. I think it's time on many ways, not just in child protective services, but across our country, that this stuff has got to stop. There's a reason these people got power the way that they did, was because of the elected and appointed officials and who put them in there and who was able to get this passed and get these things done.
People don't realize that there are 30 plus countries that participate international scale with the CPS and child support program.
Haiti, when Haiti fell, you know how many kids from Haiti, when they flew over there and took their kids of all that other stuff, and they came out, oh, they're lost or that. No, they're not. There's families that will send their kids with money to go to the border to cross into America just for a chance at a better life, because they're just starving to death, or it's just so bad where they're at. Something's got to be better. And a lot of these families that do come here, yeah, man, I'll tell you what, you ought to check Western Union wires, because a lot of that money goes a lot of other places. And that's one thing that they don't want. Hey, but that's fine. But I think, didn't they start taxing that at one time, or, money that went across, even into Mexico and Cuba and some of the others? I think they put some kind of thing on it to kind of, deter some of it or something at one time. But I think there was a couple of cases open on it too. I lost track of. But, there's all of that out there that, they support their family very well. And a lot of them say, I'll work here in America like crazy, and then I'll build my home and take my money, and I'll go back to Mexico. And here's the funny thing. They'll retire at like 40, 45 and live like kings. Why can't we do that? I mean, think about it, man. Bust your butt till you're about 40, 45, between the age of 18 to 45. Make enough money and have enough to, stay here and live bare minimum. I mean, there's people that just their spouses stay here to work just so they can send money back. They don't even hardly see their family.
I think it's that people focus on money rather than building wealth.
Well, I think our definition of wealth too, we put it in monetary sense,
Right.
within monies and this and that. And that's not what actually is. We never needed money. We could grow, we could do this, we could hunt, and we could trade. Whatever our benefit or our skill was, we offered that to our community, and we traded for those services. I mean, that's throughout history. Once again, hey, you got some honey, and I've got some corn. Hey, let's do a little trading. But once again, the same thing is what does family mean anymore? I mean, because it's been destroyed by the states with no fault divorces. I mean, of course they want you to get divorced and your kids and everything else. Look how much money in the trillions of dollars it generates. It benefits the state for them to push you into being divorced. It's financially sound for them to do that.
It generates Federal Reserve notes, which are a note of debt. It's a big debt generator.
Mm-hmm.
Our problem is that we're in debt.
Yeah, it's well, I think some of that too is we don't take and balance that of what we're in debt with who owes us money. to balance that off.
Yes, and also a lot of people don't utilize their credit either.
Yeah.
When they could, there's things,
Well,
there's avenues.
Oh yeah, there's ways to go down and get an LLC, and you're guaranteed a $250,000 loan by any bank.
And you've got
As a small
trusts,
business.
you've got all of this
Trust, all
stuff.
sorts
There's
of
a
stuff.
lot. Yeah.
But man, it's been a blast. I was hoping our fearless leader would be around. I guess he struggled on us, or maybe he's going to pop in here at the last minute and go. Argh. But man, it's been a blast, man. Definitely, yeah. Check out that. I'll see if I can't get on yours, but if you need jumped in, just hit me up on the Facebook and
Yeah.
from there.
I'll share your video in my group as well. This video here of your show tonight in my group as well. I always do when I come on and do my guest appearances. I share because then that helps out.
Right.
I don't have the biggest audience, but
this was kind of Darren's gig, and we had a conversation earlier. Hey, let's do a show, and then I'm like, "Hey, man, anybody seen Darren?" And they're like, "Nah, he gone." I'm like, "Well, let me finish up what I got." Guys, we may run a little late. We're doing the best they can, but understand we are doing so much, so many things you don't even know that we're doing. And
it'd be crazy to get 300 parents on here saying one at a time to their problem with the family courts, and just go through like 300 people and make a video of that, and then just send that out to every public official and see how quick they start getting lump in the throat.
Oh, yeah. Listen, man, it's been a blast. It's been a pleasure, man. Just being with the show with you, man. I mean, because
appreciate you.
Deep
Appreciate you having me on,
man. I mean, I'm just kind of subbing for Darren, but man, I love going down those rabbit holes and having those deep conversations with stuff that people just don't know. I mean, hell, we could go through MK Ultra and that Air Force Base and some of the other things, and hell, we could even go through and I can tell you how it connects to Charles Manson. And he was a product that was let go after MK Ultra. Yeah, he was one of their test subjects, and then they let him loose. Where was this thing at? The Hollywood Hills. That's right, folks. He was a product, and when that came down for MK Ultra, they let everybody that was still alive and tested.
Hollywood's the Illuminati.
Let them loose.
That's who the Illuminati is. It's Hollywood. Yeah.
And we're seeing the death of Hollywood too.
Yeah.
Because people are finding it more entertaining to find real life, real people shit to laugh at and or experience or get into with reality. Even some of the acting they have, at least it looks a little bit better, but it's not so. Here's the other thing: it's not whitewashed clean. It's real. It's grungy. It's real American. You know what I'm saying? Or wherever you're from, it's not got all the polish to it. I don't spend. I mean, Obsidian, unless you spend 15 minutes on your makeup before the show. I mean, we're pretty raw. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is who we are. There's no bullshit. There's not a fancy studio.
There's no fluff. It's not.
No. I'm not. I haven't got somebody putting money in my pocket. This is all done for free.
Yep.
Line in your
I
pocket.
put a little fluff on my own channel.
Yeah. And like
that's just creativity, man.
But you can check out one of the things too is check out our I think he's got our website. Let me see if it's here. I don't know if he's got it's at one of the others. But he's got that banner up there. I think it's CPS Hunting for Justice. Like I said, you can look through it. I think it's on the YouTube channel. There's a website. There is some swag coming out as we're growing this and that. All of that money anything that is done from that swag, guys, it automatically goes towards these shows or doing more channels and everything else. But guys, don't forget to check out Obsidian tomorrow, guys, and don't forget to check out our show, Gunning for Justice, tomorrow starting at 9 o'clock, man. Just hang around from 9 o'clock and just hang out, get you some, end of the week, everything else, wrap it up. Hey, let's get a little bit of knowledge. Let's get a little bit of experience. Let's grow together. Let's strengthen our weapons and our defenses. Guys, have a great night. We'll talk to you then.
In the United States, CPS makes upwards of $3 billion per day on trafficking and selling our children. The corruption may start with the caseworker, but goes through the judicial system, passing the governor through the Senate and into the White House. The entire system has a hand in the business known as CPS.
Our children are stolen every minute of a 24-hour day. They are being robbed of their innocence, their trust, their happiness. As parents, we are isolated and betrayed by a government we trust. States are balancing budgets on kids' lives. Only 12% of the kids taken will be reunified. Title IV funding is being riveted with fraud.
We need to stop CPS and abolish CPS.com is leading the way. Join us.